Hi guys, it's Amber, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing alright. It's all a bit weird now, isn't it? I think we must be week 5 of lockdown, maybe even week 6. I don't know, I'm losing track of the days. But I'm kind of getting used to this. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like this is kind of the new normal now, like not being able to go anywhere, not seeing anyone. And I almost feel a bit anxious about when everything kind of goes back to normal. Like, how are we going to get used to that? It's all really strange, and I think over the last few weeks I've kind of turned into this baking, cross-stitching, green-fingered, gardening, just DIY queen. Not really, but it's just kind of all these different things that I've been doing to keep myself occupied, and I've actually really enjoyed it, as I think I've had some time to really spend time working on me and having some kind of just self-care and finding new hobbies and things that I just enjoy doing that don't involve pleasing anyone else. And it's really weird. I mean, what have you all been up to? Like, let me know in the comments. I want to know everything that you've been doing, even if that is just literally spending a day doing nothing. Like, you got out of bed, you had a shower. Even if you didn't have a shower, whatever, what have you been doing? I feel like I know nothing about anybody else's life at the minute, and I'm just kind of in my own little bubble. So I'm really interested to know how you're keeping yourselves busy, even if that is just like, woohoo, my hair has had a break from the heat. So I straightened my hair today for the first time in what feels like forever. In fact, I washed my hair today for the first time in what feels like forever. I think when I did my hair curling video, I think maybe I'll wash my hair the next day, and then I've literally not washed it since because I am a greb. The only thing I'm really missing from the outside world now is something that, you know, I think we're all kind of getting to that point now. I'm very lucky in that my husband's a hairdresser, so my roots aren't really going to get too much worse than this. But my nails, like, look, okay, so that snapped off yesterday. I have a bit of fluff attached to it for my jumper, which is great, but that fell off yesterday. I've had to order some acetone so that I can soak them all off, because they are just so grown out. I love these nails, so I have been trying to keep them on for as long as humanly possible, but they are so grown out. I think my eyebrows are now kind of morphing into my eyelashes, and you know, any day now I'm just going to turn into this kind of forest monster. It's really not ideal. So I'm really looking forward to having a little bit of TLC when I get out of here, because I just feel a bit like some kind of greasy, sweaty monster all the time, which is a bit minging. Today's video is a little bit different. I think it's a bit of a personal video, and I mean, come on, this is this channel, and when is my channel ever really not over personal things? So it's a bit of a different one for me, but I think it's something that's quite relevant, and I think something that we really need to talk about, especially at the moment, given the situation that we're in. I'm seeing an awful lot of memes about the COVID weight gain and things like that, about the way we look. And I know obviously I've just sat here and babbled on about my eyebrows and all the rest of it, but I think body confidence is something that we really need to be talking about. Somebody messaged me on Instagram the other day, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I try to be the biggest advocate for body positivity that I can be. But at the same time, I am on a bit of a journey, if you like. I hate that word so much, yet I feel like it's the only word that fits 90% of the things that I talk about on this channel. But I am on a bit of a journey at the moment to kind of lose weight and feel a bit happier within myself. And so this can come across, I suppose, as a bit of hypocrisy. And it kind of led me to think about whether or not it was possible to be body confident while also trying to change the way you look. And it led to a lot of different thinking in my head. And I think I have a really unhealthy relationship with food, which is something that I always thought of differently. So I have kind of grown up and spent the last, well, nearly 26 years thinking that I have a really good relationship with food, when actually it is really quite the opposite, and my relationship with food is really unhealthy. And so I kind of felt at the time like I wasn't going to do this video because I didn't really know, not where I stood on the matter. Sorry, my throat just made a really weird noise. That was really odd. Not where I stood on the matter, because I know where I stand on the matter, but I didn't really know how to sit here and kind of verbalise a video about how we should all be really body confident, when at the same time I'm on Instagram regularly going for my runs and going for my bike rides and feeling really self-conscious about things like that. So I figured I would kind of sit down, and I am literally going to be laying everything bare. So I am going to kind of lay all my cards on the table for you tell you what's what, and I think it's just a conversation that we really need to start having. So, as always, grab yourself a cup of tea, get yourself really, really comfy, because this shit's getting deep, huns. Oh, I love a good cup of tea. Oh, you can't beat them. Okay, so before I start, if you haven't already, then do make sure that you pause this video and that you hit the subscribe button down below. I don't really know where to start when it comes to this topic. I think I have always yo-yoed with my weight. When I was about 16, I think kind of growing up, I've always been a solid size 10, really. That's kind of where I've been. I've always been around the 10 mark on the bottom, 8 on the top. That's just kind of, like I say, how it's been. When I was about 16, I got into a relationship which really wasn't very nice. It was really quite a nasty, horrible relationship, and that ended when I was 18. And as a result of that, I lost an awful lot of weight. And at the time, I didn't really think I'd lost any weight, but looking back, I really had. So I went down to about size 6. And I know that kind of from an 8 to a 6, it doesn't seem like that much weight. But when I look back at photos and I see the difference and I see just how skinny I was when I was 18, I was tiny. And I think, again, I just wasn't really eating. Like, I would just skip meals. I would be in sick form at the time, so I wouldn't really eat breakfast. I wouldn't really eat lunch. I just kind of started skipping my meals, and that was it. I was also a really heavy smoker at this point, and I think, you know, it's a known fact that smoking suppresses your appetite. So I would only really eat junk food or the food that my mum would cook for me of an evening. So I would go through long periods of time where I wasn't eating anything, and then I'd eat loads. So I would kind of fluctuate. And it was only really when I went to uni, and again, I was still really skinny. Again, I was literally living off peanut butter and super noodles and wine, and that was it. So I wouldn't really eat a proper substantial meal unless it was at the weekend when I was coming home to work, and even then it would be takeaway. So I was never eating really nutritious meals. I was always just eating junk. Like, that's the only way I can really describe the way I was. It was only up until recently that I had never really been bigger than a size 10 thereabouts. Like, me not being a size 10 was not normal. I've always had an hourglass figure. I've always had that arched back and the rather large bum. My grandma calls it the Bridges bum. So Bridges is my maiden name, and she calls it the Bridges bum because we all seem to have this arched back and then this rather round, rather large booty. Which has never really been an issue. I've always been quite proud of that, and that's just the way it is. My issue with my weight started when I was about 15, and I call it an issue with weight. It was never really an issue with weight, but I'd never really thought about being overweight until I was 15, and my dad had taken us to Florida for the weekend. Oh my God, my dad had taken us to Florida for a holiday. We were definitely there for longer than a weekend. And now in that week, I put on 7 pounds because I was just eating. Now, if you've been to America, you know that their portions are ginormous, and their large McDonald's is like not a large McDonald's. It's like what would be a super size here. It is absolutely huge. And I was eating like there was no tomorrow. I was having corn dogs for breakfast, these great big large McDonald's. And this one night, we kind of went to this all you can eat buffet. And all you can eat buffets, like, they are my ride or die. I absolutely love them. So I had gone, and I think I had had 3 heaped plates. That night, we'd gone to the hotel room, and then I'd gone downstairs to go to the pool. And when I got into the lift, there was this other lady there. And this lady looked at me, she looked me up and down, and she was like, "Oh my God, I love your flip-flops." Sorry for my horrific American accent. And I was like, "Oh, thank you, blah, 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 blah." And then she looked at my stomach and she asked me when I was due. And I couldn't believe that 15-year-old me had just been asked that question. And I was horrified. So I went back up to my room, told my dad, who thought it was absolutely hilarious. And I think that was kind of where things started for me, that I was a bit on the larger side. And I wasn't at all. I'd just eaten 3 plates of food. Like, I was bloated beyond belief. But that has always kind of stayed with me. I was never big. Like I said, I was always really quite small. But I was never toned. I've never been particularly athletic. I mean, growing up, I think when I was about 4 or 5, I was doing gymnastics, and then from about the age of 7 to about 15, I was doing, maybe a bit earlier than that, maybe more like 14, I was doing horse riding. And although I've never been athletic, I would move a lot. I would bike to school every day, and that was about 2.5 miles there, 2.5 miles back. So I would be doing about 5 miles a day minimum, because I would then go play out with my friends, etc, etc, etc. So I was always moving. Even when I was at uni, I was walking into uni, which was up and down a great big hill every day. So, well, I went. So I was always quite active without being active, if that makes sense. Like, I've never been very sporty, but I was still moving. My heart rate was still going up and up and up. And I was fit in that sense. But that's kind of when everything started. I've always found it quite hard to eat properly. Now, I grew up with someone very, very close to me who suffered with anorexia from the age of 13. And 10 years later, I still think I have some kind of deep-ridden fear inside of me because of that. So I watched this person starve themselves and restrict everything that they ate and want to control everything, and it was heartbreaking to see. And I saw the effect it had on them. I saw the effect it had on their mental health, not just in terms of the anorexia, but in terms of the depression, the anxiety. I saw the impact it had on the family. And as a result of that, I have always been so adamant that I will not calorie count, and I will not restrict myself, and I will eat whatever the hell I want, because I refuse to become obsessed with it and refuse to go down that route. And it terrifies me. It terrifies me of becoming so obsessed, and people do. Apps like MyFitnessPal, I have used these apps, and I have used them to monitor what I'm eating and how much I'm eating. But again, I find them really restrictive. I put in, the last time I downloaded it, I put in how much weight I wanted to lose, and it told me that I shouldn't be eating more than 1,200 calories a day. And I would struggle to have my lunch, my breakfast and my dinner in with that. And I wasn't eating, at this time, I wasn't eating a horrific amount. It would be things like I would have a banana for my breakfast, or I would have things like avocado, and then for my lunch I would take a sandwich to work, or I would take a pasta salad, or something quick and something easy that I could take to lunch when I start work at 6 o'clock in the morning, so needed to be quick to prepare, take that to lunch, and then come home and cook dinner. And I would be exceeding that all the time, and I found that really hard, because I was a bit like, right, well, if there's apparently 90 something calories in a banana, like, what can I eat? And I think I got really hung up on that. And lo and behold, I didn't lose any weight anyway. But I think these apps are quite dangerous, in the sense that you can become obsessed. And I think if they're used properly, they're a really good thing. But I think it is so easy to become so hung up on it that I don't particularly like them, and I won't use it again. I think I have almost gone too far the other way. So when I sit and think about what I eat in a day, I've sat here on these videos before and spoken about the fact that when I do a night shift at work, I have been known to sit and eat 5 chocolate bars and 3 packets of crisps in one sitting. And it's always very funny, and it's ha ha ha, yeah, me too, this, that and the other. And I think people think that I say it as a bit of an exaggeration and a bit of a, I will sit and I'll have a couple of chocolate bars and maybe a packet of crisps. No, I really have sat there and had 5 chocolate bars and 3 packets of crisps in one sitting. And I would love to be able to sit here and tell you that I was exaggerating, or be able to sit here and say to you that it's once every now and again, but it really wasn't. It kind of turned into something I would do every time I was at work. It would be a night shift, and that is what I would eat, and that is what would get me through the night. And even on my later shifts, when I wasn't finishing until 2 in the morning, I would kind of give myself a bit of a sugar rush to keep myself going and bring my energy levels up. And I have for a very long time been a binge eater, and I think it's not healthy the way I eat. I will skip my meals and then just binge on all this sugar. And again, there will be times where people bring Krispy Kreme donuts into work and I will have 6. Again, I am not exaggerating, and it's almost become a bit of a running joke at work about the fact that I will do that and I will sit and eat 6 donuts in a sitting, which is not healthy in any way, shape or form. And I am a big advocate for eat what you want, and food is not a reward, and exercise should not be a punishment for eating that. And if you want to eat that, if you want to eat that brownie, eat it. But for me, I am almost now so far the other way that it is really hard for me to quit and for me to drop that, because I don't have a healthy diet in any way, shape or form. I have always been very lucky in that I'm not a fussy eater at all, and I will literally eat anything that you put in front of me, providing it is not liver, it is not any kind of heart, and it is not spicy. They're my requirements, literally. Other than that, knock yourself out, I'll eat it. So I've always found it, I think, quite hard to admit that I have an issue and an unhealthy relationship with food, and I almost feel a bit like, I don't know what has happened to me in my life for me to be this way, but I kind of feel like if somebody tells me I shouldn't be eating something, then I will eat it, and I will be really defiant. And I kind of feel like any kind of, not authority, that's not the right word, but any kind of guidance or any kind of rule, I don't like. And I feel like, well, no, you can't tell me what to eat and I'm going to do it my way, etc, etc. And that's why I am so, I will eat what I want. Whereas now I'm realising I can't do that. So when it comes to my current weight, I put on Instagram the other day that I'm, I don't know why I find this so hard, but I at the moment I'm 11 stone 11. That is the heaviest that I have ever been. So at the moment I'm around a size 14, 16, which for me is bigger than I have ever been. I am only just 5'2", so I'm quite a small girl, and I carry my weight around my hips, around my thighs, around my face, and it's always been that way. Whereas now I'm also kind of carrying it on my stomach and on my arms, and I have got to a point where I look at full body photos of myself and absolutely despise them, to be quite honest with you. And I try not to become too hung up on the numbers, but clearly I am. So when I got married, I was 8 stone 5. So I got married 2 years ago today. It's my anniversary today. And I was a lot smaller than I am now. I, however, was not very confident still at that point. And at that point, I still felt like I needed to lose weight. Obviously, about 6 months later, I was then diagnosed with all my fertility issues, and I'd had my operation, and 6 months after that I had my other operation, and that is when I started putting on the weight, because again, I was sat on my backside for 8 weeks because I could not move, and I would sit and I would eat a tub of Pringles, like the big ones, a big tub of Pringles and a great big family bar of Dairy Milk Oreo, and I would sit and eat that to myself every single day. I bought some pyjamas for when I went into hospital, and 4 weeks later I put them on again, bearing in mind I'd worn them in hospital on the day of my operation. 4 months later I put them on again. I went into the spare room, I sat down, and they ripped the whole way across the backside. And I don't mean like down the little stitching, I mean the whole way across the backside. And that is when I first realised, okay, I'm spiralling a little bit, I'm getting a little bit out of control here. And yeah, and it's just kind of carried on from there. Now, when I sit and talk about body positivity, listening to all that, it may seem like there is no way that I can sit there and tell you all to be positive about your bodies. And to be honest, I do believe that you are able to feel positive about your body and love yourself while still trying to change it. So for me now, a lot of my weight loss has, yes, got to do with my self-confidence. I don't think I have ever felt so uncomfortable with the way I look in my life. But that's for a lot of different reasons. It's not just, I think, because of how I look. At the same time, high cholesterol and heart disease runs in my family. So for me, weight loss isn't just about the way I look, it is also about my health. And I don't want to be in 20 years' time at the doctor's surgery being told that I'm in trouble because my cholesterol is too high, with type 2 diabetes, etc. And like I say, because that is in my family, it is a very real risk for me. So it's something that I am now trying to be very aware of. I've always known that, but I have kind of put it in the back of my head because I've always thought, it won't happen to me, it won't happen to me, it won't happen to me. I never thought infertility would happen to me, and that here we are. So it's kind of opened my eyes a little bit. So that is one of the reasons. But on top of that, I think you are able to love your body for the things that your body can do. So exercise shouldn't just be about the end result. It shouldn't just be about the losing of the weight. It should be about the way your body can move and celebrating the fact that your body can do these things. And I think, especially when it comes to my running, that is what I'm trying to aim to do. That for me, it isn't just about the fact that, yeah, okay, if I go running, then I'm going to lose all this weight. It's a case of, I want to be able to run a 10K because I can. Because in 40 years' time, I might not be able to do that anymore. But the older you get, the harder these things become. It's, you know, a known fact. My grandma at 80 years old has always been incredibly fit throughout her life and has done more sport than I think I've done in 26 years. And was still doing that at, 70 years old until my granddad got poorly. They have always done that, but she couldn't run a marathon now. So in my head, I'm a bit like, well, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do that while I can. And I want to run a half marathon just to prove to myself that I can. And so for me, body positivity isn't just about the way you look, but the way your body can move. So I feel body positive in the sense that, okay, yes, I'm not happy with the way that my body looks right now, but my body over the last 2 years has been through an awful lot. It's had 2 operations, one fairly big operation. It's also undergone 2 different rounds of IVF. It has been pumped full of all these fake hormones, which really do impact your skin, it impacts your weight, it impacts everything. So my body's been through all this. So I feel really positive on that front, that this is my body and this is what my body is capable of and this is what my body has done. I think especially when you've gone through IVF, it is really easy to put yourself down because your body is already not doing one thing that you want it to do. So it's very easy to then sit there and go, well, it's also not doing this and it's also not doing that, and just feel really shit about yourself. I do think that you can do both. And again, I don't look in the mirror and think I am disgusting, and nobody should feel that way. And you should look in the mirror and you should feel blessed that your body can do the things that it wants to do and that it's able to do. And I think we have kind of been indoctrinated as a society over the years. Growing up, we have all these beauty magazines where celebrities are ripped for a little bit of cellulite, or they're sat in a certain position and they've got rolls. Of course they're going to have bloody rolls. They're sat up. You find me somebody who doesn't sit up and have a skin roll. Like, it's just normal. It is really, really normal. And I think we have been so indoctrinated to believe that normal isn't okay and that you need to look like some kind of supermodel in your day-to-day life. And of course you don't. Like, they're not real. I mean, they are real, but they're not real. Photoshop is a real thing. Facetune is a real thing. If you think a lot of these really big people on the internet, I don't, okay, I'm going to do it, but people like Kim Kardashian, you only have to look at the photos to see the difference in the size of the waist. They are either really heavily photoshopped or there is one hell of a bloody corset on there. It's not normal to wear a corset in your day-to-day life. Like, people's waists do not look like that in comparison to their hips. It's not normal. And it really frustrates me because I think I have spent so much time looking in the mirror and looking at photos and getting really upset because I don't look a certain way. And now I'm a bit like, again, this is what I mean, why you can want to change the way you look but still feel body confident and feel positive about your body. It is not normal to look like that, and I know that. And I know that no matter how much work I put in and no matter how much I exercise, I am not going to look like Kim Kardashian. That is just not going to happen. We could all do the same exercise and eat the same things as routine, all at the same time, follow the exact same plan, and we would still not look the same. It is not normal. We are not supposed to look the same. We have been brainwashed to believe that our bodies need to look a certain way in order to be accepted. We as women have been made to believe that if we don't have certain features or we don't look a certain way, we are not beautiful. The same with men. They have these magazines and these things online where if they're not pumped and they haven't got these great big muscles and these six packs, they're not a man. And a man should be this really big, strong bloke that can do all these weights, and it's not real. And I think we have spent so long where we have to apparently conform to certain beauty ideals that it's hard for us to accept ourselves the way we are. If you gain a little bit of weight over this period, who cares? If you gain a little bit of weight outside of this period, who cares? It isn't about what you look like, it is about how you feel. And I think that really needs to be kind of washed into us. Go for a run, not because you're going to lose weight. Go for a run because you feel bloody good afterwards. Even if you manage 20 seconds and then feel like you're going to collapse and die on the floor, you can guarantee once you've got up off the floor and you've not collapsed and died, because you won't, you're going to feel good. And you're going to feel good because you've got your heart rate up, and it's as simple as that. The weight loss for me is a bonus because I have all these clothes I no longer fit in. I want to be healthy. I want to be strong more than skinny. I do not want to be this stick thin thing. I want to be strong. I want to be able, we have a weight bar in our garage that Marco had years ago, but we've still got it up. I want to be able to lift myself on that bar just to say I can. And I can't do that at the moment. And so if I only lose 10 pounds, but I am the fittest I have ever been in my life, I will be happy because my body can do these things. And I think that is what it's about for me. It's not about the calories. My problem again is that I will bake these Kinder cookie bars and I will order these great big pizzas and things like that, and I will eat them because I enjoy them and they make me happy, and I'm not going to sacrifice that because they make me happy. But I have never been the girl to just have one slice of pizza. I have been the girl that I have to have 5, 6. I have to have 7 brownies because I almost feel like I have to prove to myself I can eat them. And that is my mindset. And I think that is what needs to change. And it is very easy for people to sit there and say, oh, it's easy, you just don't eat, or you just, it's very easy not to eat so much sugar because you just don't eat a chocolate bar, you eat an apple. And it's like when you're smoking, it's very easy for somebody who doesn't do it to tell you to quit and to tell you that you can just stop and that you can just change, but you can't. And it's like it with anything. You have to be ready to change. And if your mindset isn't ready to change, then it's not going to change. If you don't want to, you won't. And you can't just quit. It just doesn't happen. Changing your mindset is not just like that. It's like changing a habit. But ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is that what you look like to anybody else is irrelevant. What you feel like is important. For me now, it isn't just about the weight loss, it's about the nutrition. And like I say, I am a big binge eater, and it now gets to the point where I feel quite sad about when I think about what I eat and what I put into my body, because really I don't put that much goodness into it. And I think that is where I'm at with the weight loss, that I need to start eating better because I can feel it, and I feel lethargic and I feel tired and I don't have a great deal of energy on the best of days. And so for me, I know that changing the way I eat is really important for that matter. And if I did that, then yes, okay, I would lose weight, which is ultimately my goal, because I don't feel happy. I couldn't give a rat's arse what Bob down the road thinks. If I was to walk down the street and Bob was to look at me and go, gosh, she's put on a bit of timber, that's all right, Bob, you're losing your hair, but you know, nobody's telling you about that, are they? So I don't care on that front. I'm not doing that to please anyone else. I'm doing that for me and for me only. And like I say, for me, it's more about the strength and my body's ability to be able to do things. At the moment, I cannot run 10 kilometres. I struggle to run 5. I want my body to be able to do that. And that is where I think body positivity is so important, because it's all well and good looking a certain way, but if you are not healthy, your body can't do those things. And for me, that is what it's about now. It's about being healthy and being able to push my body, and my body being able to do things and celebrating that. My body can do a lot. My body has done a lot. Not on a fitness front, but my body has been through an awful lot. And so for me now, it is about pushing my body and going, no, do you know what? Now we're going to do something good with you. We're not going to pump you full of injections. We're not going to have all these operations and all the rest of it and sit around feeling sorry for ourselves. We're going to move, because I'm in my 20s and I can move. And one day my body's not going to be what it is now. My body's going to be fragile and my bones are going to be brittle, and I'm going to sit around and I'm going to go, ugh, every time I get up. At the moment, it's not like that. So I'm going to make the most of my body. And I think that is what I mean when I talk about body confidence, when I talk about body positivity. And I think it's really important that we try and think like that, and that we stop believing we have to look a certain way, because we really, really, really don't. I hope that's all made sense. I hope I've not just rambled on. I know I have rambled on at you a little bit, but I just think it's really important. And I think I was asked to cover this, and it's something that I'm kind of going through a process about at the moment. And it's something that when it comes to the nutrition and the goodness and things like that, I'm kind of struggling to accept that. And I know that the way I eat and things like that have got to change, but it's trying to do that while still feeling an element of self-love. And it's learning to love yourself is really hard, and being positive about your body is also really hard when we are brainwashed to believe that we need to be a certain way. So it is really, really difficult, and I completely understand that. But try just celebrating what your body can do. You know, if you're pregnant, celebrate the fact that your body can carry a baby, and your body is going to birth a baby, and that is one of the most amazing things that the human body can do. If you ran 3K this morning, amazing, well done you ran 3K. That is something your body can do. Celebrate those type of things. Celebrate the fact that you have this body, and that this body can do all these wonderful things for you, rather than just looking in the mirror and focusing on what it looks like. If what it looks like really gets you down, then do that for you, not for anybody else. Do not believe that you are worthless because Bob down the road with his balding hairline thinks you might look a bit tubby at the moment. It's irrelevant. It is absolutely irrelevant. Do things because of how it makes you feel, nobody else, and not because Heat magazine tells you that you should. Right, okay, I think that is it, and I'm hoping that when I edit this I don't completely cringe, and I'm really sorry if I have just rambled on at you. But I hope you liked this video. If you do want to see more of these kind of things, let me know. Let me know what you do want to see. I think at the moment, being stuck indoors, it's quite difficult for me to kind of think of these different things to do. So obviously do let me know kind of what videos you want to see in the comments. Do make sure that you've subscribed to this channel, and do make sure that you're following me over on Instagram. My handle is Amber in a Teacup, and I will see you on Friday. Ciao.